Okay, guys, we are back. The last lesson we did was the 1.15 writing workshop 3. So we are ready to do 1.16. To get here, you need to log into the OLS, click on classes on the left-hand side, then click up here where it says content to get to here. You have a table of contents over here on the left-hand side. If this unit 1 isn't opened up, just click on where it says 1 influential people for this to open up for you. Scroll down and you will see that we are on 116 writing workshop 4. It has a learn, an assessment, a learn, and assessment. Basically what this is you're going to have these modules here that are going to help you learn about writing and revising your final draft. Then one assessment is turning in that personal narrative assignment, and we'll go over that just a bit. And then there's another learn, it's a lesson check. And then your assessment for 1.6, there is a quiz to this, okay? So be sure that you turn this in and take the quiz. All right, let's get started with the first learning portion. Always start with the introduction. Writing Workshop 4 Introduction. Writing Workshop 4. You are almost ready to publish your personal narrative essay. Before you do, so you should have already got your rough draft. Now you're revising and proofreading. Before you do, you'll revise and proofread your work using a checklist. Then you will be ready to turn your draft into a polished essay. Remember, we're working on maturing our writing. Just as we're maturing, we're moving from simple sentences to more complex, compound sentences using very descriptive language. So instead of just saying simple verbs such as good or adjectives such as good, we're going to use something more descriptive like awesome, exciting, whatever. We're using, instead of simple vocabulary, we're going to use higher level vocabulary because we're growing and maturing. Go to slide 2. Of course, that's where your student guide is going to be. You always download the student guide. And as you'll see here, we have our objectives. There's no vocabulary necessarily. Oh, yes, there are down here. We have some materials that we're going to go ahead and download and save. Keywords and pronunciations, clarify. Means when writing is clear and an essay is easy to understand. Coherence, the sensible presentation of smoothly connected ideas in a paragraph or essay. Publishing, the stage or step of the writing process in which the writer makes a clean copy of the piece and shares it. And style, the words the writer chooses and the way the writer arranges the words into sentences. Okay. So let's go ahead and download our materials. We have our checklist for proofreading. So let's go ahead and open that. Downloads in the bottom, and it's going to open up in a Word document, and it's opening up on my second screen. So give me just a second. Okay, and when you open up, for all those that are new and haven't heard this before, when you open this up, there's this yellow bar. We need to get rid of it so we can type right in the document. So you're going to click Enable Editing to get rid of that yellow bar, and then you can type your name. And I would save it. Go ahead and go File, Save As. This PC, and instead of naming all this gobbledygook, just give it the name that they gave it in there. So let me see if it shows me here what it's called. So checklist proofreading. I would put 1.16. The unit is from, and you might want to put ELA because I know you have more than one class. ELA 1.16 proofreading checklist. And click Save. And then you'll be ready to look and make sure, did you indent for each new paragraph? Circle, check, yes or no. Did you start a new and describe any edits if you need to? Oh, I forgot to indent on paragraph 3, then type in there. Go back and indent para 3. Okay, you can short that and then circle once you fix that. Did you start a new paragraph for each speaker in a dialogue? So remember we talked about when dialogue changes from one speaker to another, you're going to start another paragraph to make it easy to follow and understand dialogue. Did you begin each new speech with a capital letter? Okay. Did you put quotation marks before and after each speaker's exact words? Did you use commas to separate speeches from dialogue tags like he said, she said, he exclaimed, he asked, whatever? Put the end punctuation or quotations, including commas, before the final quotation marks. Did you check the spelling of all your words that you're not sure how to spell? This assignment will be graded on spelling, especially the spelling that was the spelling patterns that were covered in Unit 1. So if you need to go back and look at those, just check your spelling. When you're turning in a final draft, there shouldn't be a lot of misspellings. If you're doing a rough draft, I'm going to be a lot easier on spelling. But this is a final draft. We want it to be a good, polished piece of work. Consistently use past tense to narrate your story. So again, a personal narrative should be first person using I, me, my, and it should have taken place in the past. So you're going to have a lot of words ending in ed to show that it's past tense. All right. So you'll go through that checklist as you read your rough draft. All right. The next one that we need to download is the revising checklist, because there is a difference between, remember the lesson we had? If you didn't, go back and watch, not this Friday's, but okay, let me see, what date was that? Hold on, give me a second here. I got to think back, when was it? Okay, we didn't have classes last Friday, so it would have been February 5th. Look at, nope, not Friday, but Thursday, February 4th. If you did not have class with me on the 4th and you would still like to see that lesson, remember, all of my lessons are in the class newsletter. Go back and look for that lesson, the PowerPoint over that and the lesson over that. And if you need the recording, just reach out to me and I'll be happy to email you a link, as long as you didn't have class that day. If you had class that day, go back in your Class Connect session and view it from there. All right, let's see. We're going to open this up and we're going to do the same. And again, it's going to open up on the next page. I'm going to bring it over here, go through the same process, enable editing. Let's put our name. And file. Save as. This PC, and we're not going to call it this. We're going to call it ELA 1.16 revision checklist. And I'm going to have to open this up a little bit so I can hit that save button. Save. All right, and then again, you're going to go through this. Does my narrative tell a story with a clear and satisfying conclusion? Yes or no? You know, and have your learning coach look over it. That's perfectly fine. I want you to first go through this checklist, but then, yeah, have your learning coach help you with this. That's fine. Will it be clear to the reader why this story has meaning for me? Yes or no? And if you need to make any revisions, again, check, oh, it's a little unclear right here. I need to go back and fix that. Put what paragraph you're talking about and what sentence needs to be clarified. Have I consistently used first person point of view? I, me, my, maybe ours occasionally, or we. Yes or no? Did I present events in chronological order? First, next, then, finally, those transition words. This happened first, next this happened, then this happened, and finally this happened. Do my sentences move logically from one idea to the next? Yes or no? Did you switch topics in the middle and then come back? Don't do that. Keep it on topic. Did I use transitions to make clear the relationships between thoughts or events? Like, however, because of first this happened, next then this happened, finally this happened. Okay. Did I use language that shows rather than tells? Remember those descriptive words, spice up your writing, help your reader get a mental image of what's going on, make it become like a movie in their head. Have I chosen nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs that were as precise as possible? Again, instead of just saying good, spice it up with go open up that thesaurus and find a better word for good. Remarkable, excellent. Have I used dialogue to enliven scenes and give information? So again, adding those spices and flavors of life to it. Make it interesting for your reader. You wouldn't want someone to just hand you some oatmeal without any butter or sugar or cinnamon or spice in it. It's rather bland. You want to add some stuff to it to make it palatable. Same thing with your writing. All right. And the next document we have is the assignment itself. And this may be slightly different. Let me look at this. What are they giving to you versus what is actually going on here? Enable editing. Okay, and we may not have to really write on this one per se. All right, write your personal narrative, 500 to 750 words. Your narrative should describe an event or experience that was important to you. Remember that your personal narrative will read like a story as you, the narrator, first person point of view. Create a setting, develop the plot, write your conclusion in mind, and include all the details your readers will need to understand the narrative and its ending. Before submitting the assignment, make sure you've included a beginning, middle, and end, dialogue to draw readers into the scene and give information about actions and characters, precise, vivid language that shows rather than tells, events in chronological order with appropriate transitions, an end that includes your narrative's point or meaning it holds for you, unified paragraphs organized around a main idea, specific nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs, and a variety of sentence types. In other words, complex, compound. You can have some simple sentences in there, but look, we're trying to move away from the simple, like, I have a cat. Okay. I have an orange tabby named Pumpkin. Much more complex. Remember to submit your planning and organizing document and rough draft when you submit your final paper. You do not have to do that. You're going to be submitting this in goformative. I would highly recommend that you type your rough draft in Word or Google Docs, make all your revisions and edits there, and then retype it into goformative. I wouldn't copy and paste it because it will tell me you copied and pasted it. Just retype it very carefully. Okay. Let's see. Okay, just to minimize that. And the rubric, definitely go over the grading rubric. This is how you're going to be grading. When I look at your work and go to grade it, and keep in mind, please, this is not going to be like the OLS lessons that automatically populate. When you turn this into me, give me a week to get this graded, because think, I have like 200 students. And I'm going to read each one of your narratives a minimum of 2, possibly 3 or 4 times each. Okay. So that takes time. And that's not including the time that we spend in class together, the time I spend making these video recordings to help prepare you for next week, and all the phone calls I make and the way and the help labs I'm there helping y'all. My day is really filled. So I only have about an hour or 2 each day to do grading. Okay. So I'll probably be grading this next weekend, and I will get this graded as soon as possible. But please be patient if you don't have it appear in your grade book a day or 2 after you turn it in. Give me a good week to get these teacher graded assignments done. I promise I'll get them in there as soon as I can. The USA Test Preps also, although the computer grades them in USA Test Prep, I have to manually move those over. So just because you, and I usually only check it USA Test Prep. Sometimes I do it once a day, and sometimes it's depending on how busy the week is. And this next week coming up is pretty busy. I may only get around to checking USA Test Prep twice this next week. I'll be real honest. So I do grade regularly. You will have it in there within a week on USA Test Prep and your writing assignment. If it's over a week and you're still not seeing a grade in there or any feedback from me, like, hey, I need you to go back and redo this before I put a final grade on it, then please do reach out to me by email. Okay. I do try to stay on top of that as much as possible. All right, we're going to open this one up. Again, it's going to open up on my second screen. Just a minute here. Okay, I'm going to pull it over. I'm going to widen this out, enable editing. Okay, now on this rubric, we're not shooting for the low end. So I don't even want you looking at really, definitely not the last two columns. I'm not even going to look at them. I'd rather you shoot for the best you can do over here. But I really don't want you even looking at this minimal one for 70%, because if you're off by the slightest, you won't get a 70. Okay. So you really need to be looking here at this. And I will have this pulled up side by side when I grade your paper. And this is what I'm going to be looking for. So let's look at what will get you the best grade possible. So to get the best grade possible on your planning document, your planning document is complete. Okay, again, you do not have to turn in your planning document to me. Your draft does not have to be complete. I'm just automatically going to give everybody 4s on that. I'm going to assume that you did that, okay? So then when we go here and look here, this is what I'm looking on criteria. Your personal narrative, you wrote a personal narrative with multiple paragraphs that display unity and elaboration. You write a short, okay, so your narrative has a clear focus with a plot that engages the reader. Point of view is well defined and remains consistent throughout the whole narrative. It's well developed paragraphs with the elaborate plot, and the narrative demonstrates unity throughout. So you don't start talking about one thing and you switch topics, okay, and then come back. You're not going to be doing that. If you do all those things, you will get the full 8 points. Okay. Best grade possible, point of view. You present writing that demonstrates a masterful use of a first person point of view. So you stay using I, me, my. You can use some we's and ours if you're talking about you and your family or you and your friends, whatever, that's fine. But it should mostly be me, my, I. Dialogue. Where appropriate, you use dialogue to generate reading interest and to help speed the pacing of the text. Descriptive language. You use descriptive language to enliven personal narrative and engage the reader's senses and interests. You use those sensory words. What do you feel, taste, smell, see, hear? Are you using simple words like good? Or are you using more higher end vocabulary such as awesome, excellent, great? You know, use your big, as my dad would say, the $10 words. Use your big words. Very descriptive. Remember, I wasn't there with you where this happened. So describe the setting, describe it vividly so I can put myself there and see it just as you experienced it. Summarize and reflect. You demonstrate insightfulness in reflecting upon the past events, characters, or experiences, particularly how these elements affected your perception of meaning, since you're the writer. All right, look, I've got a lot of things to look over. The organization. So you demonstrated ease in organizing paragraphs around a main idea and topics. You use transitional words and phrases that are appropriate to the organization of the paper and create seamless bridges between description, dialogue, and other elements of the narrative. So I'm going to be looking. Do you have first we did this, then we did this. After we did this, we then did this. you can mix it up, put that spice in your writing. But I want to see those transition things at the beginnings of paragraphs, or, as you change and we switch, okay, we did this and then this happened, looking for that. Revisions, clear evidence of revisions demonstrating an improved final paper. In other words, looking at grammar. You shouldn't have a lot of misspellings. You shouldn't have a lot of grammatical errors. Look especially at those dialogue, because the dialogue has a lot of punctuation attached to it. And review that lesson if you need to. And of course, down here it goes into mechanics. So is it free of grammatical or spelling errors? So you have no grammar errors, you have no spelling errors, and you vary your sentence structure. So you don't have just a bunch of simple sentences. You have some compound sentences, you have some complex sentences. Again, your writing should be maturing as you yourself are maturing. We're no longer beginning elementary kids writing, I see a dog. We should be past that. I see a large black collie or large black Labrador running down the street. How is he running? Running quickly down the street. You're going to be stretching those sentences, making it more complex, which also has more description in it and helps your reader put themselves and see exactly what you saw. If you have some errors, you may not get the full 5 points. You may get 4. If you have 4 or 8 grammatical errors and it kind of starts interfering with your writing, then you're maybe only going to get 3. And then down here 2 and 1 or none. Okay, so let's keep it on this end of the thing. Surely you should have less than 8 grammar and spelling errors. Okay, keep it under 4 if at all possible, where you can at least get here. And if you have absolutely none, then you'll get the full 5, which in hindsight is not a great deal. It's a small part of your paper, but it can be an integral part and it can make or break you. So your revision is 3 points, your organization is 4 points, summary is 5 points, descriptive language is 5 points, your use of dialogue is 5 points, your use of point of view is 5 points, and the big one is, are you following the personal narrative outline and talking about something from the past that actually happened to you? And again, these you're going to pretty much automatically get here because we're not turning in your planning document. You're not turning in your rough draft to me. I'm only going to be looking at that goformative that you submit. All right, and I'll show you more about that as we go through it. All right, so now that we've done this overview of the lesson, we are ready to actually get into the module of the lesson and talk more about, I'm sure, revising and editing. Polishing your draft. Revising and proofreading represent a huge part of the writing process. Pay attention to Mr. Wanaki as he explains why. I'm not going to play this video for you and take up extra time. Pause this video right here to watch this video. When you're done, come back and we will continue on. Finishing touches. It's time to examine the revising and proofreading steps. Once you know a little more about each, you'll use the checklist to revise and proofread your narrative. If you didn't already download them, here's the link again, but I already have those pulled up. We've already kind of discussed them, so I'm not going to go back over them again, but go through those checklists for proofreading, checklist for revising. Have your learning coach help you after you think you've gone over it. Have them look over it and help you. That's okay. Revising for coherence. First, read your narrative for coherence, which is the sensible presentation of smoothly connected ideas in a paragraph or essay. Try to read as if it were unfamiliar. You don't know anything. You did not experience this yourself. Take yourself out of it. If you were someone else that didn't know you, would you want to read this? Would it make sense? Ask yourself whether the sequence of events is clear. Be alert for sentences or ideas that don't seem smoothly connected to one another. Add transitions if they will help, like first, then, after we went there, we then went here. Add any details needed to make what happens clearer, and delete or move details in sentences that seem out of place. Revising for clarity. Next, read your narrative for clarity, which is when writing, it's clear and easy to understand. When you read for clarity, try reading aloud to yourself. Be sure to pronounce each word that is actually on the page. Add any words you have mistakenly left out. And it may help if you have someone else read it to you. Sometimes that helps me catch it. Delete any words that you accidentally have left in. Remember that if you're using a word processing program, it's very easy to leave in words from deleted sentences. Listen to the sound of your sentences. If any sentences sound awkward or it's difficult to understand, rewrite it. Finally, read your narrative for style. The words a writer chooses and the way the writer arranges the words into sentence. Everybody has their own style, just like one person's style may be t-shirt and blue jeans, and another style is a suit and tie. Everybody has their own style. Read slowly, just like you have a style of dress, you have a style of writing. Read slowly, concentrating on one sentence at a time. Evaluate the words you choose and the ways you express your ideas. Substitute words that show for words that tell, and use vivid words in place of colorless ones. So ones that put you there, those sensory words, words that describe exactly what you saw, what you heard, what you smelled, what you tasted, what you touched. Consider writing out dialogue instead of summarizing what someone said. Proofreading. Once you have refined your content, give your narrator a final polish, your narrative a final polish by proofreading it. Don't underestimate the importance of correct spelling, grammar, and punctuation. Imagine dressing in your best outfit and then spilling salsa down the front. The stains are what people notice first, not the handsomeness of your clothes. Misspelled words and other technical mistakes call unwanted attention to themselves. They may make readers underrate writing that is otherwise very good. It can ruin the content. Be aware of your own weakness when you proofread. Most word processing programs have spell check. However, sometimes you need more information to determine the correct spelling. Use print or online dictionaries to check spelling of words and determine whether the word you're using is the word you want. If you are unsure how to punctuate dialogue, then check a grammar book. Don't forget the resources you learned about in a previous lesson: dictionaries, the Star Eye, usage guides, spell checkers, and grammar checkers. Now that your personal narrative is polished and gleaming shine, gleaming shine, it is time to share your work with the world. Publishing your writing might sound like a scary walk into a skyscraper in New York to meet a sharp-tongued editor, but that is not what we mean by publishing here. Publishing means simply to let people read and hear your words. You could share it with your family and friends in an informal setting. You could create a collection of your personal narratives from family members and put them all into a book for a family keepsake. You might be brave enough to attend an open reading for writers at your school, the public library, or a coffee shop. The point is to share your hard work with others. You deserve it. What we're going to be publishing here is you're going to be publishing it into goformative. Now, I'm the only one that's going to have access to see it, so it's not like other students are going to be sharing it. If you do a really awesome job, though, I may reach out to you and say, hey, would you mind sharing in class? Or would you mind if I share it in the class newsletter or maybe somewhere else? Okay, so keep that in mind. But I'll always ask for your permission before sharing it with others. Personal narratives on tests. It is common for standardized tests to require you to write personal narratives. Writing on here was good practice for you. Check out some simple essay essay prompts for personal narratives similar to those sometimes found in standardized tests. Number 1, describe a time when you felt scared. What did you learn about yourself in this situation? Describe is a verb that tells you that you will need to use vivid detail in this essay. Remember that includes dialogue, sensory language, and precise word choice. Tell about an event that changed the way you think about the world. How did it change you personally? Does the word tell make you think of a story? It should. The verb indicates that you should be writing a personal narrative. Explain how an event in your childhood shaped you into the person you are today. An explanation of an event that shaped you in a way is going to become a personal narrative. Look for verbs such as explain when trying to identify the purpose for writing. Module 3. Independent reading. Reading is an important skill in any course you take. Would you consider yourself an avid reader? It is understandable that not all students like to read on their own outside of school hours, and you very well may be one of them. But there are so many benefits to independent reading, including improving reading comprehension, vocabulary, and fluency. There are many different things to consider when choosing books for independent reading, including the purpose of the assignment and any guidelines or restrictions given to you by your teacher. Different purposes for selecting an independent reading book might include reading fiction or nonfiction, finding a book that connects to the content you're studying, finding a book to learn something new about a topic that interests you, or finding a book based solely on your outside interest. When completing an independent reading assignment, it's not only important to choose the right book, sometimes that will keep you interested, but it's also important to hold yourself accountable to the process through tracking and logging your reading. In this activity, you will select your first independent reading text for a specific purpose and begin reading independently. Once you finish your first independent reading book, you will start the next one. Your goal is to see how many books you can finish. You will also track your progress through this unit by completing a reading log and various reading checks to determine the success of your independent reading process. All right. Selecting your book. So where can you find an independent reading selection? You have many options in finding a book, including going to the library, going to the bookstore, borrowing from a friend, or searching for an online text. When selecting an independent reading choice, you should never just pick a book based on the title because you have easy access to it. However, it's important to do some quick research about your book choice to ensure that you choose something that holds interest because nobody wants to be stuck with a book they don't like for the entire semester. How can you conduct easy and quick search about a book to determine your interest? First, if you have a book in hand, you should always read the back cover of the book to learn about the book's storyline or content. Second, you should complete some independent research to help learn what the book is about and what the author's purpose was in writing it. For what age is this book appropriate? What genre is the book? What reviews did it receive from other people? For example, what did they like or dislike about it? What is the main idea or theme of the book? Another thing is the Lexile level. If you took your MAP test, then I have your Lexile level. If you don't know what it is, reach out to me by email and I can tell you. You can Google a book and just put in Google. Let's say you want to read the book Wonder. What is the Lexile level for the book Wonder by da 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 da? And it will pop it up and tell you. And so there's a Lexile range. If you go too far below it, it's going to be too easy of a book and not challenge you and probably be boring. If you go the opposite way, too far above your Lexile level, it's going to have a lot of vocabulary that you may not understand and become frustrational for you to understand and read. Why is it important to research the genre of the book and the age it's most appropriate for? It's important to make sure that the book you select is written for students your age and will be easily understood. You also want to determine what genre the book is to help you identify if it's something you will be interested in reading, such as science fiction or historical fiction. Plan your reading. Once you have chosen your purpose for reading and have done some research to select the perfect book to hold your interest for the first book, the next step is to select a schedule for your reading and keep a log to monitor your progress and make sure you're reading enough. If they don't include one here for you, I have several of those. Just reach out to me. When logging your hours, your goal should be complete 100 minutes of independent reading over 1 week, splitting the time into 20 minutes a day for 5 school days. Your log should include the dates, titles, book title, chapter title, etc., minutes read, pages read, and what you learned or interesting fact or plot detail from your reading, and any reading strategies you utilized. Again, you should strive to complete as many books as you can throughout the semester. This will make your final assignment more interesting. While you read, you also want to monitor your comprehension of the books and make necessary adjustments as you read to ensure you're reading. This can be done in many ways. Reading comprehension strategies include rereading, reading something again to help you better understand it, activating prior knowledge using what you have learned before to help you better understand your content, asking questions using questions to test your knowledge, summarizing or annotating, creating a summary or set of notes to better help you understand. In your log, you will also include what comprehension strategies you utilize and how they aid in your understanding. For example, if you reread a section to better understand the plot, you will include that. Or if you kept notes as you read, you will include that. At the end of the semester, you will turn in your completed log and answer the following questions to complete a well-organized, multiple paragraph essay that is 3 to 5 paragraphs total in length. Your goal is to present your opinion of your reading, including what you did and did not like, make personal connections and discuss their impact, and evaluate your success with the assignment. You must include the use of transitional phrases and utilize specific details and examples from the book you read as support for your answers. Pay attention to word choice and mechanics as well. Number 1, what was your favorite book from the semester and why? Number 2, what was your least favorite book from the semester and why? Number 3, how did you connect to the content you read this semester? What personal connections did you make with the content and real life experiences? And how did this impact your reading? Evaluate your success with reading assignment. What were your strengths and weaknesses? What did you learn overall? Is there anything you would do differently next time? Use the rubric to assess your work and determine how this final assignment of the reading log and essay will be scored. Okay, and then here they have the grading assignment, download that, and graded assignment independent. And I'm a little confused by this because that wasn't in the lesson details. Assignment personal narrative. Submit your personal narrative when complete. Now we're back to the personal narrative. Wow, what a it's right there. You do not have to include your pre-writing or your drafts and revisions. I just want your final copy and go formative. Carefully review the assignment. Make sure you have met the requirements. Do look over this rubric and make sure that you have everything there. That's going to be the main thing you're going to be graded on. So look over that rubric. Make sure you're good there, that you've done your best possible job so that you can earn the most possible points for the highest possible grade. Remember, we're always striving to do our very best. Okay, so here is the assignment itself right here. So if you were over here, scrolling, we're at this part right here. This is where you're turning in your personal narrative. So you're going to go to goformative.com or click on this link. It should take you directly there. So we're going to click it. Let's see what happens. And it may try logging me in as a teacher. So this may not work. Nope. Well, kind of, sort of. Okay, so you're going to put your student ID. You're going to need your first name, your last name, the date that you're submitting it, and then your actual essay. Okay. So this is below here. You're going to add this is where you're going to type. Okay. And I don't have a correct answer, but you'll have a space here to type. Again, don't copy and paste from your Word document. You'll have to retype it. Be sure you indent just like you did on your Word document. Okay, I'm going to go back to where we were before. Okay, so you'll go there. If it asks for the code, you're going to put in YKTQXA, all caps. And here it goes over again, the link that it should be. So in your Word document, let me move this over here. Okay, that's not going to let me do what I wanted to do. Give me just a second, and I've got a ton of them. Okay, so let's just say I've got one here. Oh, that's not what I want. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Let's try this again. Can we do this? Nope. Sorry, guys. It's not pulling up the way I want. Okay. Let me see if I can pull this. Okay, now it's going in front. Okay, so like you have, here's an example of a review document. You go to Tools. Well, it used to be Tools. Give me a second to find it. Review, maybe? Word count. There we go. It's under Review and Word count. You can pop that up and look. It's going to tell me it's one page, 89 words. Okay, I need 500. So, okay. So it's not quite 500 words. Now it's almost 500 characters, but that's not words. It needs to be 500 words. Okay. So be sure that that's correct before you start typing. Okay. And that's that. Once you do this, you're going to click submit on this. So you will click on it. Here's how you properly turn this in. Once you have got it typed up in goformative, you're going to click there. And you're going to, it's because I'm as a teacher right now. You're going to go in here. Let me see if I can view this. Let me get out of my teacher. View as a student. Let's try this. Oh, it took me back to the beginning. Hold on one second. Let me go back to content. Because I want you to see how to turn this in. So you have this here. You've gone to goformative. You've typed it all in goformative. It's 500 to 750 words. It's all good. You've got it turned in there. You submitted it in there. And you're ready to turn it in. So you're going to click here up the top where the title is. It's going to take you here. And you're going to mark as complete. This will take it off of your planner. Okay. Now, if you mark this as complete and I go in and you do not have it in your goformative, I'm not going to be happy. I will come back and say, hey, you didn't watch my video. You didn't submit this correctly. There's nothing in goformative. Please go into goformative and type your narrative and then resubmit this. Okay. If you have submitted something in goformative, but it's not long enough or it needs a lot more proofreading or revising, I will say, hey, that looks like a good rough draft, but you need to go back in and fix it and give me a good polished final copy that's of the correct length, and then resubmit this. Okay. If you submit and I'm able to grade your document in goformative, you will receive feedback from me with a grade and some feedback. All right. You'll probably have a rubric attached so that you can go in and look what I scored you on your rubric so that you'll understand why you got the grade that you got and what you can do to improve for next time. Because we all can use improvement, right? Nobody's perfect. So you will click this mark as complete. I'm not going to do that right now, but that's what you would do. Mark it as complete. And that will take it off of your planner. Okay. But don't do that unless you have put something in goformative. All right, I'm going to go back to content again. because I'm not ready to submit my final copy. Once you've done that, then you're ready to go down here to the second learn. Okay. And it's the lesson check. Remember, when you were first told you were going to write a personal narrative, you were probably overwhelmed and unsure of yourself. Now you've done it. Not only that, but you've used the writing process to complete pre-writing, planning, drafting, revising, proofreading, and publishing. Nice work. Remember all that you've learned about the writing process and using vivid language in future writing projects that require such detail. Answer the following questions to check your knowledge. Number 1, how do you know when to start a new paragraph with dialogue? Write down your answer and your review thing. We haven't started a review for 116. You might want to do that now. So remember, we open up, we go to Word document, blank document. We're going to title this one, and you might want to say ELA again. ELA 1.116 writing workshop 4 review, and put number 1 and copy and paste. So we're going to go boop. Oh, you just do that. Copy, right click copy, or highlight it and do Control C to copy. Come back here and right click, and I like to choose, that one's not gonna, okay, that one right there, that one looks the most right. And paste it, or you can do Control V to paste, but sometimes that paste funky. Click your answer, start a new paragraph when different ones speak. So there's your answer. Copy the answer. And right click. Again, I'm going to use, that one's too big. There we go. All right. And you could put your own thoughts in here too, but just be sure that you also include what they give you, okay, as the correct answer. Number 2, what are some techniques to add detail to a narrative writing? Copy and paste that into that review document, put your answer down, and then check your answer. Dialogue, precise language, and sensory language. Number 3, what is precise language? Give me your definition. All right, let's check and see. Strong words that create images in the reader's mind. Were you correct? Remember to copy and paste the question and answer into your review document. Number 4, what are some transitions to use for chronological organization? Can you tell me some? Jot them down, type them in your review document. All right, let's check your answer and copy and paste that in. First, next, last of all, before, all of those work. And you might have had some others that you listed, or just fine too. Number 5, what are some resources for proofreading? Can you list any of those resources? Put them in your review document. Let's check your answer. Dictionaries, thesaurus. Now, thesaurus is the singular. If generally, when a word ends in US, singular form ends in US, and you pluralize that, you change it to I. So octopus, the plural of octopus is octopi. I know a lot of people don't say that. I've even seen on a STAR test, the singular form of cactus, if it were following the rule, which it should be cacti. Okay, that's the plural form of cactus, cacti. But they said cactuses. No. On a STAR test. But that's because a lot of people just don't know that that's incorrect, and it's been misused so much that language can change and evolve. And now I think that, all right, like an example here. Here's a good example. Opossum. Do you know that opossum is technically spelled O accent mark or apostrophe. No, not apostrophe. What is that? No, it is apostrophe, comma. It's the high comma, apostrophe. So O apostrophe PP, possum, opossum. But nobody hardly says opossum anymore. They just say possum. It's possum. They dropped that off totally. So, yeah. So a lot of things change because they're misused so much that eventually it does get changed, even in the dictionary, which apparently is what's happening to cactuses, which should be really cacti. But now you know. So, oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. So the thesaurus is the singular, thesauri is the plural. So don't get confused by that. Dictionaries, thesauri, spell checker, grammar checker, and usage guides. Remember to complete all activities and readings for this module before doing the quiz. Have them pulled up. Pull up the review from 1.13, 1.14, 1.15, 1.16. All of those will help you in taking this quiz. None of those, I don't think, had any readings to them. All of those were about, creating this personal narrative, revising it, and getting it ready for your final, for publishing. Your final, not rough draft, but final copy. That's what I was thinking of. Okay, so have all that pulled up so that you will be ready for this next part, which is be sure you copied and pasted all of those questions and answers and have that pulled up for those review documents. Okay, there's 5 questions. It'll probably take you approximately 5 minutes, but take your time. You have a total of 3 attempts to take this. You take it the first time after watching this video. Try going back, watching again, especially if you just rushed through and you didn't take the notes like I suggested. Go back and try it again. If on your second attempt you're still not successful and you've watched this video and you've taken the notes as I suggested, then come see me during open office. Reach out to me by email so we can set up a time to get together and review and work on getting your grade up. Okay? If you have any questions, please come to open office. It's held Monday through Thursday at 1 p.m. You can email me at ljordan@tvahallsville.org, or you can call me at 254-307-0033. If your learning coach has not opted you in to receive calls or text messages from me, please be watching your email for a response, or I may reach out to your learning coach to answer your question as well. All right. Y'all have a great day. I hope you found this very helpful. Write a good formal essay. If you have any trouble getting it turned in or have any questions, please, please, please come to open office or reach out. See you next time. Bye.